Okay, so here I am. It's February the 14th, 2015, and I'm going to make a really quick sort of commemorative video documenting. So this is day 367. It's the 367th consecutive day in which I'm commemorating a project that's happened 10 years ago between February 2004 and February 2005. It all started off with this material here. Actually, it started off with this paper. This paper that was presented originally in Oxford, written in the autumn of 2003, under the title of Tune In, Turn On, Let Learning Happens. In what follows, I offer an account of teaching as the art of turning on the desire to behold being. This account rests on a particular understanding of contemplation, and what's more, on an account of being itself. I depart from the traditional reading of being as Plato's good existing in another heavenly realm, and reread being through a deconstruction of Aristotle, and describe it as the permanence of presencing. Once established, contemplation is then described as a matter of attunement, of being in touch with what appears before us. The next step offers a reading of what Plato describes as our power of learning as the capacity to respond to being, as our capacity, and this is me, to attend to the matter that stands before us, or in Arendtian terms, to love the world. Once I have shown why we are always already potential lovers of learning, I can then describe teaching as a matter of activating this latent passion. Thus, in my final section, I synthesize these various descriptive moments in order to offer an account of teaching as Heidegger's letting learning happen, as the excitation of the passion to attend to what appears before us, namely the excess of being. I name this attunement poetic dialogue. So that's how it all got started. And then already before, I had this idea, before I got to Oxford and originally presented this in April of 2004, I had this idea of writing a phenomenological, it's kind of an experiment. I don't want to say the experiment was every day take up this matter of beholding being, of contemplation, of taking up the excess of being, of what appears before us. And doing so in the way that I know how to do it, which is through writing. But what is it that was appearing before me? The ideas, the feelings, the memories. It's an act of contemplation, speculation. So it really was a phenomenology of speculation. I was going to say pure speculation, but I don't want to use the word pure, the adjective pure. So it was a phenomenology of speculation. It was a daily exercise in taking up the question and thinking about thinking. That is to say, documenting the appearance of thinking. Using a particular vocabulary and using a particular tradition and making it happen through exegesis, right? So, the taking up of particular texts, that we're taking up this question, the question of being. And the question of being as it appears to us, not just in speculation, but as a matter of being in the world. And that's kind of where I'm ending up in the commemorative, but I'll get there in a moment. So the experiment was every day, a daily thing, a la Stoic Marcus Aurelius Epictetus type of process. The daily meditation. For 1 year, every day, take up a place, what Camus called the hour of consciousness in the myth of Sisyphus. And here was my hour every day. I flipped this over, Although I didn't have the hourglass at that time. Boom. Boom. Being and learning. Being and learning. This was the result of the experiment that first started with the writing of that paper, then the writing beginning on February 13th, 2004, of a full year that was collected in these two 3-ring binders right here. And it's these, I could do a whole exercise routine with these things. These that I dutifully returned to this past year. I was going to make a dramatic thud, but I decided not to do that. So I went back and reread all those meditations. In the interim, so I ended in 2005. Took me a couple of years. That seemed like a long time, but in 2012, after some editing, some removing of material that didn't really work, I put it into this form, which is this book, Being and Learning. And then last February, exactly a year ago and a day, February the 13th, 2014, I decided, I took it up again. I went back and reread and revisited every meditation, all 363. There were actually 365. I thought that there were only 363 because I took off one day back in 2004 when I was in Scotland, in Edinburgh. And I was on the Arthur's Seat, that mountain there. And essentially, I thought I'd only written 364 or something. Anyway, there was a leap year. It ended up being one more than I thought. Nevertheless, the original title under which this work was done was called 363. But this year I didn't take off one day. I started on the 13th of February. I went every day, either through writing or through video or through both, through yesterday. Plus there was an extra day because 2014 was a leap year. So when I arrived to 2/13/2015, 1 year exactly a year later, I was at 366. And today, which was the last day that I wrote in the original project, 2/14/2005, arrived today. It's the 367th day consecutive, and I'm pretty psyched about that. In the discourse and the vocabulary that I use, I am psyched. And I'm psyched for a number of reasons. I'm psyched just because, wow, I did it. Actually, I sat down a year ago in Summit and 29 Sunset Drive, in the house I grew up in, and I recorded a video, and I just went for it. And I went on a journey. And that journey is documented in the blog, Being and Learning, Duarte Being Learning, in Blogger, Google Blogger. I call it 2.0. It's full of an unbelievable assortment of images and ideas and some music, and I recorded videos in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in Steubenville, Ohio, in Summit, New Jersey, in Drew University, in University of Pennsylvania. I think I even did one at Cornell. Those are just the videos. The writing, just both where I wrote and where I went with the writing. It was an amazing experience. And I'm so glad that I did it, and I feel empowered by it. I feel excited by it. I feel like I have resources that I can work on. I have a form, the sentences that I'm really excited about, and the sentences along with the theses. And I demonstrated the very thing that I've been talking about and working on, which is called poetic, originary writing and thinking. And that's what it's all about. So here it is. Here are the last pages, manuscript pages 616, 617, and 618. I'm going to turn to these now. I'm going to commemorate with some comments. And the last thing I want to record here are these little cards that my daughters gave me 10 years ago today when I finished the project. And that's it. Adios.